From Channel 4, this is an Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special.
We are live at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, not the post-game show we were hoping to do. Of course, the New England Patriots beat the Saints 36-20 this afternoon, joined by Manti Te'o from WWL Radio. Let's lay out what we're going to be doing here for the next hour. We will be live at the Superdome. Mike and I will be breaking it down, and we will have a ton of post-game reaction. We'll hear Sean Payton's post-game press conference in its entirety in just a minute. We'll hear Drew Brees' post-game press conference in its entirety. We'll also hear from several players on the Saints defense talking about the problems today. We'll hear from Cam Jordan. We'll hear from Manti Te'o. We'll hear from Klein. We'll hear from Saints wide receiver Mike Thomas. We've got a lot of stuff lined up in the next hour. And Mike, most of it is not good. The Patriots torched the Saints from the start. And we're going to go into greater depth. But boy, you got a lot of defensive problems, right?
Also offensive problems. Doug, I've got to tell you, I'd much rather you ask me to do this post-game than LSU post-game. But listen, it's the worst. It's not the best of both worlds, so to speak. But no question about it. Again, you couldn't get off to a slow start. You saw it again. This football team let the Patriots control the pace of the game. They were like a speed bump. You know, 4 out of the 5 first possessions, the Patriots scored touchdowns. So, I mean, how many games are you going to win like that? Very, very few. And again, it's part of what we've talked about so many times, this September swoon. This football team now is 1-11 in the last 12 games they played in September. Listen, you ain't going anywhere other than watching in postseason when you start off that slow.
Yeah, they have dug themselves holes each of the past 4 seasons, 1-11 in September, 0-2 each of the past 4 seasons. Mike mentioned what New England did in the first half, and they ran out of time at the end of the half, got that field goal.
Which potentially could have been 5 out of 6.
Correct. It was touchdown, 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 punt, touchdown, field goal on 6 possessions. That's unbelievable execution from New England, and the Saints couldn't do anything about it.
My thing is, you go back to last year, this team was giving up 29 points a game. They gave up 30 points in the first half. So, come on. I think the other issue is this football team, back-to-back games now, has scored 19 points, 20 points.
Right.
Doug, I understand the 19 points against a good Vikings defense. The Patriots defense is not that good, but they made them look good today. They were just behind the 8 ball, could not get a running game going. And again, we talk about it so many times. You run the ball less than 20 times and you throwing it 40 times a game, you know, your chances to win are less than 10%. We back to square one. This football team is a tad maybe better than a year ago, but you're looking at the same 7-9 type football club we've seen the last 3 years. No stopping anyone, running game nil. Drew Brees can't play good. He's got to play great each week for this team to win.
Yeah, and the Saints need turnovers. They got none today. Okay, let's hear Coach Sean Payton's post-game press conference right now.
Look, obviously, it's a difficult loss. There are not going to be a lot of things, you know, that we like when we watch this tape. You know, the game unfolded in a manner where, you know, I just finished telling the players, you don't know how it's going to go, but certainly offensively we weren't able to keep up with the points that New England was scoring, and credit those guys. They did a great job of execution, and you know, we didn't play like I feel we're capable of playing. Any questions?
Were you seeing any of the same issues on defense from last week?
No, it wouldn't be the same. We'll look at the film. We were probably in a little bit more man coverage than we were zone from a week ago. You know, last week we dropped 2 coverages, but this wasn't as noticeable. You know, obviously there were some guys open. So, but before I comment, I'd want to look at the film.
How do you react though when you see how it's been?
Listen, you know, it's good offense. We've got to get better, and not just on defense. Like I said, you know, we've got to be better offensively. Clearly, you know, we're not playing a complimentary game. We're not turning the ball over, but we're not creating any turnovers either. You know, obviously we didn't do enough good things today to give us a chance. It's a good question. I don't know if it's one specific player. It's week 2. I don't know what the third down numbers were today, but you know, we got to find ways to stay on the field and especially when you're playing a team that's keeping your defense on the field. And that's something. We didn't run the ball well enough, honestly, today. We didn't run the ball. We attempted to a number of times, but we had 3 penalties in the front. Those are going to be drive killers. You get a holding, 2 holdings, hands to the face. It's tough to overcome those when you get one of those calls.
How about the ability to affect the passing?
Look, the ball comes out quick with Tom. And it has week to week when you watch him play. There's a rhythm to his game. Ultimately, you have to disrupt the passing game, either pressuring the quarterback or, bumping at the line of scrimmage the eligible receivers. So there was a handful of big plays where he had too much time.
Something happened to the car in the second half? Or you guys just find
No, listen, we need to get more consistent play. That dates back to last weekend, so we're gonna play those guys.
What's your reaction to reports being undefeated?
Yeah, I think it's not unusual this early in the season for teams to call about teams that have depth at running back like we might, or depth at safety. So outside of that, no reaction really.
What about the offensive line? A lot of jumbling. That was.
Yeah, we felt like this was, look, if it was just a week, it might be a little different, but looking at the time frame that we're operating on, we felt like this was the best decision for us moving forward.
Sean, you're 1-11 now, September the last 4 years. What's the challenge ahead for your staff, your veteran leaders?
Well, listen, we just finished talking about, the sprint here that we're in to improve each week. Obviously, you start off like this and there's disappointment, and yet, we've got the right type of locker room, but we're going to have to respond quickly. We play Carolina and then, go on the road for another week. So, we'll find out a little bit about what we're made of. Just what I was talking about earlier. The specifics, I'll keep to myself. I thought it was an easy one just based on how this game was unfolding. No different than the challenge. The challenge was an easy one as well. If we lose it, the ball's on the 10. If we win it, it's a touchback. But with regards to the way that half had started out, we felt pretty good about a play. We just weren't able to connect on it. But I think a lot of it's pulse of the game. I don't know that I normally would do that. A lot of it's just how this game was going.
From what you can tell, how did that play?
I'd have to look at the tape. I don't want to guess. Next question.
Coach, you mentioned some of the stuff on offense. What about on defense? 12 men on the field, they get you an interception.
Well, look, the 12 on the field was, it's first off, it's a classic Tom where, there's a quick substitution being made, and I haven't seen the replay or how close Manti was to getting off. Obviously, it's frustrating when it's a turnover. But I thought overall, from a substitution standpoint, that wasn't our challenge tonight. They're in and out of a few personnel groupings, but settling in and eliminating some of the big plays. It's 2 weeks in a row, really, where there's been too many quick strike plays that, make it difficult to play consistently. In other words, some of those drives, are happening, and all of a sudden there's a third down. Early in the game, we had a few third downs. We weren't able to get off the field, and that hurt us.
I know you guys all try to have a short memory, but on the play, you brought the touchdown. How disheartening can that be? The way it went down.
Listen, anytime a team scores, anything else? All right, thanks.
And that's Sean Payton immediately after the Saints' 36-20 loss to the New England Patriots. Doug Mouton, Mike Te'o back live at the Superdome. And look, Mike, the one thing that we both thought was most interesting that Sean Payton said afterwards were the questions about Kenny Vaccaro. Rob Gronkowski, 6 catches, 116 yards. He was all over the place. Vaccaro was on him a lot. Sean Payton said there was no injury. He pulled Vaccaro because of his play, and he didn't deny that they listened to trade talk potentially about Vaccaro. Did any of that surprise you?
No, not really. To be honest with you, when that stuff starts to come out, that's leaked on both sides. And there is no doubt. He really struggled mightily in the first half against Rob Gronkowski. And you could see that little bit of a confrontation between the two guys. That's Kenny Vaccaro wanting to be competitive.
Sure.
He wants to get out on the field and showcase. But man, he got took to the cleaners today by Gronkowski. The other part about it is he added, when you have depth at running back and safety,
right,
he's also telling you that he's getting phone calls about that running back position too, and that's another issue I think somewhere down the line. What you heard is a coach searching for answers to try to spark his football team, and right now he doesn't have them.
Yeah,
does not have them.
That's well said, and we'll talk a lot more about the running back position, about the problems on defense. We'll hear from Saints linebacker Manti Te'o when we come back. We're live at the Superdome with our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special. Back in a minute. Welcome back to our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special. Doug Mouton, Manti Te'o live at the Superdome. All right, look, Mike, here's the one thing that struck me about how Tom Brady attacked the Saints defense. The first 5 big first downs that he picked up were to his slot receiver, to a tight end, to a running back, and to a tight end. He didn't attack the outsides. He didn't go at P.J. Williams or Marshawn Lattimore. I thought Lattimore played well. They rarely went his way. The Saints could not cover Gronkowski or any running back, and that's been a problem for the last 4 years, hasn't it?
It's been a long-term problem with this football team matching up downfield against a very athletic tight end like Gronkowski. Last week we saw it with Kyle Rudolph the exact same way. I think he just kind of stole a page out of the Vikings a little bit, which I thought Bradford would do, was throw the ball more to the running backs. He uses James White, Burkhead, great. It doesn't matter who. They all kind of look the same, so to speak, interchangeable, but they could not cover the short game. So, you know, when you have a 2nd and 5 and a 3rd and 1, man, that you've set up Brady tremendously that way, that he can open up everything in the arsenal. This was a badly played defense in the first half, and you just never recovered. You got hit with the tsunami right off the bat and never could recover. Playing a team like Brady and the Patriots, if you don't jump on them early, hey, you're in big trouble, and we saw it here today.
And the Saints, Brady wound up hitting Brandon Cooks on a couple of big ones later, but it was after the running backs and tight ends had sort of set it up, and the Saints had Brady in 3rd downs early. They had chances that this game could have changed.
But it was 3rd and short. It was 3rd and short, so it was makeable stuff for him. Also, they ran a lot of the jet sweeps. You know, they ran that a lot with Philip Dorsett. He came in, did a nice job doing that. So again, it goes back to, you got to get off the field on 3rd down. You got to create turnovers. This football team didn't do it. This is the 2nd straight week. You whiff, turnover-wise. Doug, you're not winning a lot of games. You know, since 2006, the Patriots have been a plus 145 in the giveaway takeaway ratio. That's unbelievable. That means they get the football and they don't turn it over. Again, what you saw today.
Yeah. And
the one turnover, Brady saw that was 12 men on the field. He tried to steal a play, try to make a big play out of it. It got picked off. But again, it was null and void. They're not going to turn the ball over. You have to make your own plays when you play the Patriots. I think one thing they didn't do was steal a page out of the Chiefs' playbook and run the football on the edge. They're trying to run it in between the tackles. They bottled all that up.
And we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's hear from Saints linebacker Manti Te'o. Ricardo LeCompte caught up with him in the locker room.
It's not necessarily the mix. It's just you got to understand what they're trying to do. You know, they have a certain flavor. I'm sure we all saw that. There's certain plays that they like to go to, and they'll try to dress it up to keep us on our toes. And now it goes all back to executing. You know, we just got to execute. We got out-executed today. We're going to watch the film, come back. You know, and that's the thing about the NFL. You know, we're 0-2 right now, but we got 14 more. So learn from this and get ready for Carolina and move on.
How much do you credit Tom Brady for this, and how much do you blame the defense?
I mean, I won't blame nobody. You know, I think as a total unit, we can do better. You know, and as a whole team, we can do better. As far as Tom, we all know what Tom can do. And we understood that coming into this game. We understood that it's going to be a well-oiled machine. And, you know, you have one of the best behind the center. I'm calling the play. So, you know, as for us, we just got to execute. And we got to know, and we understood that when we came into this game that it's going to just, we got to win our one-on-one matchups and do that. And we didn't do that so well today, but, you know, that's football. We live, we learn, we move on.
Manti, does it get kind of frustrating when you have 2 weeks like this of you know, having guys wide open, giving up, you know, this many points and kind of busted coverages? And
you know, I think as a unit, we let ourselves down. You know, we hold ourselves to a high standard, and we didn't do that as a whole. You know, we're not going to blame any one person. You know, because as long as we stick together and if we play together, you know, it'll be a different story. But you know, that's, like I said, we're going to learn from our mistakes, go to the drawing boards, and get ready for Carolina next week.
Did you feel like quicksand at any point, just the amount of big plays they're hitting in that first quarter?
You know, you never really, in football you have short-term memory. You know, you never want to get in that quicksand, as you say, because once you get in that mentality of quicksand, you know, big plays just keep coming and coming and coming. You know, they're going to make their plays, we're going to make our plays. They just made more plays than us today.
The 12-minute.
Yeah, that's Manti Te'o in the locker room afterwards. Tom Brady's number 30 of 39, 447 yards and 3 touchdowns. The touchdowns all came early, and he didn't attack the Saints' rookie corner.
Well, that's a lot of respect for Marshawn Lattimore. This is the guy who is the greatest quarterback of our generation, and he went after what? The veteran and Kenny Vaccaro at the safety position. He went after the linebacking core, throwing the ball out in the flat to the running backs. Well, who's there? A.J. Klein, Manti Te'o. Anzalone's the only rookie in the bunch. So that's a lot of respect for what Lattimore's done. Listen, so far this season, 2 bright spots on defense. Cameron Jordan, who brings it each and every week. And Marshawn Lattimore has really played much better as a rookie than I think anybody would have thought he could have in the first 2 games.
Yeah, agreed, Mike. The problem is the Saints have given up more than 1,000 yards in the first.
Problem is the other 9 guys.
Yes, given up more than 1,000 yards in the first 2 games of the season. We will hear from Cam Jordan when we come back. Mike Te'o, Doug Mouton live in the Superdome on our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special. We're back in a minute. We're back live at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Mike Te'o, Doug Mouton. It's our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special. We're going to hear from Cam Jordan in a minute. Look, Mike, Cam Jordan is one guy that for the past few years, you cannot blame any of the Saints' defensive problems on him. But today, Holy Kakahai had a sack from the outside. But today, Jordan didn't get a lot of help from the guys on the inside, did he?
No, absolutely not. When you play Tom Brady, you got to blow up his launch pad, and that means coming right up the middle. The biggest disappointment early in the season has been Sheldon Rankins. Where has he been? He made 1 play against the Vikings from a pass rush standpoint. And listen, it's difficult to say, but it's true. This football team took a devastating shot when Nick Fairley could not get on this field, because he was the one guy week in, week out last year that gave you that push in the middle. Sheldon Rankins was supposed to fill that void. Doug, he hasn't done it yet, and that's been a major disappointment. You spent an early first-round pick on Rankins. You thought he would be able to push it from the inside. Today, he was in the witness protection agency. I mean, he got no pressure on Brady, and a lot of times Tom would sit in the pocket. You give him that much time, he's absolutely going to drill you downfield. And when you got a little pressure, it was from Cam Jordan. He was able to make that throw and get it out of there quick. Over the last 5 years, Tom Brady and Drew Brees have gotten rid of the football quicker than any other quarterback in the NFL. You saw it today why.
Yeah, and Sean Payton said that too. Brady has a quick trigger. He can get rid of the ball. When the Saints did get guys near him, he was able to get rid of it. Ricardo LeCompte caught up with Cam Jordan in the locker room after the game. Here's Cam Jordan from the locker room.
On those type of plays, they started, 2 minute comes around, they did, 4 or 5 screens in the series, which clearly, they're trying to slow us down, and they did exactly that. And that's something that we have to be able to take advantage of. Again, there's things on film that we have to learn from immediately.
How much of that is a product of Tom Brady, the Patriots? This is just a world-class offense, and how much of that do you think?
How much of it is 2 defensive ends who wasn't defensive line that, in the first half had no less than 5 quarterback hits? This is something that, again, we knew we had to take advantage of the tackles, and I think we did. I don't think clearly we didn't get enough sacks out of it. I mean, we ended the game with, what, 1, 2? That's something that we knew coming into the game. We'd have to hit Tom Brady early and often. And I think in terms of accomplishing that feat, we clearly did 30 points up in the first half. What do you say to that? I mean, there's nothing to rebuttal.
Another 0-2 start. Is this season, or you look in this locker room, look at the take the temperament, do you feel like this is a chance that maybe you guys can turn things around?
It's 0-2. There's 14 games left. At the end of the season, if we're sitting 13-3, there will be no such thing as when was it we turned around. I do know that we have we got a lot of things in our defenses that we have to fix. Just minor things, certain plays here, not everybody's in sync, and that's something that we have to take over, and that's in our control.
What specifically defensively did you see out there that gives you hope? That gives you some hope that you can.
This is like the second round of questions. Is everybody here? Is everybody good?
Yep, we're good now.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, were there any bright spots that maybe you can probably build on?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think, of course, we took advantage of the tackles. I think by the second half, they were not only chip protecting, they were, they were chipping and staying with the running backs or tight end protections. We knew we'd have to take over their tackles, and I think we did just that. When we talk about, our coverage, that's something you have to break down and get on the same line. I think there was times where we hit the quarterback and plays were still made, and I think there was times where we needed to hit the quarterback and we didn't. So it goes hand in hand, pass rush and coverage, and that's something that we have to get on the same page about.
Do you think, look, 1-11, I think, since 2014 in September games, do you think that there's still belief in the locker room that you can turn this around, even though in previous seasons you haven't been able to turn around slow starts?
Yeah, of course. It's like I said, it's week 2. If we finish the season 13-3, nobody will talk about it. If we finish the season like we have the last 3 years, of course, that's something that will be talked about. At this point, we control our own destiny. We go in and we face an opponent that we know quite well, and we have to get away. We have to get a win. We're not only, we don't have to be the most difficult team. We clearly are the most difficult team. We have to fix what we have to fix on defense, and the only way to do that is get through the film.
Yeah, you heard Cam Jordan say it, 0-2 for the 4th year in a row. I know people in New Orleans know this, but 3 years ago you started 0-2, finished 7-9. 2 years ago you started 0-2, finished 7-9. Last year you started 0-2, finished 7-9. This year you started 0-2. So we'll see. He mentioned if you finish 13-3, people will forget about it. But obviously, you're a long way from that. Mike, do you?
But what is he going to say, though? I mean, he's put in a spot. He's given everything he's got. And when you look at this Saints defense, tell me what guy could go to another team and you could say that guy would immediately start for another team. Cam Jordan is the only one that comes to mind.
He starts on 31 other teams.
He starts on everyone else. People might say, maybe Vaccaro. He'd start on, I think, majority of teams in the National Football League. But right now, you got one star on defense, and that's Cam Jordan. This is a talent issue. It's not a scheme issue. This is a talent issue on this football team. They thought they could plug in a couple of solid parts here and there with a Klein and a Manti Te'o. No, you need difference makers, and they don't have those type guys on the defensive side of the football.
They do not. All right, we're going to come back and talk about the offensive side of the football. We'll hear Drew Brees' post-game press conference in its entirety when we come back on our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special. It's not the post-game show we would have preferred to do. The New England Patriots beat the Saints 36-20, but it is our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special live from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Mike Detillier, Doug Mouton. All right, look, Mike, you talked a little bit about the Saints' offensive balance. The fact is they ran it 17 times, threw it 45. How much of that was a product of Tom Brady coming out on fire, and how much of that was just not committing to the run? Look, they ran it 17 times, got 79 yards. That's 4.5 yards a run when you average it out, but they certainly didn't stick to it.
Well, once you got behind, in this football team, listen, Sean wants to throw it.
Sure.
I mean, listen, he's a pass-happy coach. There's no question about it. He's never really been committed to the running game over the last 4 or 5 years. So you got Drew Brees throwing it 45 times, you running it 17. As I was telling you, the numbers say you win 8% of the games in the NFL when you do that sort of thing. That's not going to work here. You got to have some balance, but all of it was predicated upon you got jumped on by Brady in that offense. And so you playing from behind. Yeah, you can try to run the football a little bit, but they had no success running it in between the tackles. Where their success was off the edge, which Kansas City did a little bit of. But when you only run it 17 times, you're not winning a lot of games in this league. And bottom line is, that's not what Sean wants to do.
No.
He wants to throw the football downfield.
Right, and Drew Brees threw it 45 times, completed 27. His numbers aren't bad. 356 yards. The Saints did not turn the ball over.
But a lot of that was late, though.
Sure,
Those
of course it
completion
was.
stuff was a lot of that late.
Of course it was. Adrian Peterson got it 8 times. Mark Ingram got it 8 times. You balanced the two, but that's not enough carries to make either one of those guys happy.
No, because Adrian has always been a high-volume runner. Because a lot of times you look in the stat sheets when he was in his prime, 8 carries, 45 yards. But on the 11th carry, he takes it 78 yards for a touchdown. He's not going to get the ball 11 times here in this offense. And Mark's similar type runner. You got to be able to have one guy that you're going to feed the football a lot to. I've always wondered how Adrian would fit in this offense. And you see it now. This running back by committee, and Kamara's getting a few touches here and there. He didn't get as many touches this week as he did against the Vikings. But Doug, you know, you got to a point where you got to commit to someone to be your bell cow runner. I think somewhere down the line you got to say, listen, enough is enough with this. We've got to stick with one guy. In my opinion, it's Mark Ingram. He fits this offense better than what Adrian Peterson does.
Yeah, no argument there. All right, we're going to hear Drew Brees. And talking about Kamara, he had 2 drops today, and he stopped running on a deep ball where it looked like he could have kept going.
He got hit in the head with the football. I mean, you know, that was a bad miss on Alvin's part. Then he came back and made a nice play downfield.
Right, okay. Here's Drew Brees' post-game press conference in its entirety.
Could have been worse.
Go ahead. I wouldn't say we're out of sync. I would say that we've had some missed opportunities. I feel like we've put together some good drives. Unfortunately, not enough of them have resulted in touchdowns. I'm not concerned. Listen, it's only a matter of time, and I felt like there were some things that came together this week that weren't there last week or that were better. It just hasn't been good enough yet.
There are a couple of instances, certainly not to blame on one or the other, but
Yeah.
a couple of deep balls last week. I know with younger receivers, you haven't had a lot of time where you expected the route to finish one way and it ended another way.
No. No, I wouldn't. I would say we had a good understanding today as to how we needed to attack these guys and where our big play opportunities could come, and we did make some big plays, but unfortunately there was a few that I felt like we could have made, should have made, that unfortunately we didn't, and those become the difference makers.
Is that a kind of thing though? We talk about time on task.
Yeah.
Is that one where the way a route ends, you maybe expect somebody to
Yeah.
go straight?
Well, listen, and I'll miss one. I'll miss one every now and then, So yeah, unfortunately, it's just been a little bit of everything at this point that has caused us to miss some opportunities. I felt like the O-line played great, especially the fact that we had to move some puzzle pieces around, and Ramczyk starts his first game at left tackle last week and his first game at right tackle this week. So I felt like together, though, as a unit. I mean, it's always as a unit because those guys work together so much on everything. I felt like they played very well, and they had a tough task today. I mean, here's the thing: we knew the offense we were going to be trading punches with on the other side, and unfortunately they were more efficient than we were. They sustained a bunch of great drives. They had 7 red zone opportunities. That's a ton, and we knew that we had to be uber efficient, and unfortunately we just were not efficient enough to keep pace with them.
Sean said after the game, he thinks he'll find out a lot about this team now.
Yeah.
Feel the same way.
Yeah. Listen, we only have one way to go, and that's up, right? And we go on the road in the division against a very good Carolina team, so there's not much time to dwell on anything other than making the corrections that need to be made and focusing on a great game plan for this coming week.
I know that I think you are kind of the embodiment of positivity, but since 2014, y'all are now 1-11 in September, and it hasn't worked itself out.
Yeah.
Discouraging again to start off so slow.
Yeah, I mean, it puts you in a little bit of a hole. But again, we can't cry over spilled milk here. We have to press on, and we got to find a way to get a win. We do.
Do you remember Kamara's development? It seemed like you were looking for him a lot, and then he gets open a few times.
Yeah.
He did his progression.
Yeah. Here's a rookie who obviously is very talented and has the ability to do a lot of things for our offense. And I think you'll see, from week to week, his role continue to expand. And the more time on task that we have and the more that we game plan and, find different opportunities for him, I mean, he's definitely a guy you want the ball in his hands. I guess. Thanks.
Drew Brees is always positive. Even he seemed to be struggling to stay positive. And look, Mike, in the first quarter, Drew Brees threw for 36 yards. Tom Brady threw for 177. You heard Brees say they were more efficient than we were. They had a couple of long drives. You just got the feeling in this one that it almost didn't matter what the Saints did on offense, that Tom Brady was going to score at will, which he did, and that this one was going to be over at some point because you were going to have to score a touchdown on every possession to keep up.
Yeah, it's being like in a 100-meter sprint with Usain Bolt. You knew eventually, come on, you're not going to beat him. He's going to catch you. More and more I hear Drew. He reminds me a lot of listening to Archie Manning in the late 70s. They had all that talent on the offensive side of the football, had no defense. They couldn't slow anybody down. Drew's going to say the right things here, but what's troubling to me is this team has averaged in the mid-20s to high 20s, back-to-back games now, 19 and 20 points. Doug, that means there's just more problems on this offense than we look at, and I think a lot of it has to do with you have no practice. This preseason stuff, I mean, come on. And it's fool's gold to look at what preseason play is, lack of practice time. Without Willie Snead and the trade of Brandon Cooks, he's looking for another option because now teams, if I'm playing the Saints, I'm going to try to bracket Michael Thomas and say, you know what, throw it to someone else.
Right.
Make someone else make a play. I think the loss of Cooks and Snead has affected this football team, especially when they get in the red zone, when they have not been able to convert those type plays that we've normally seen in the past.
Yeah, no doubt. Of course, Willie Snead will be back for Game 4, but the hole may be so large by that point. Now, we'll hear from Mike Thomas and one of the offensive linemen today, Senio Kelemete, when we come back on our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special. Welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Doug Mouton, Mike Te'o. Again, not the post-game show we were hoping to do, but it's the one we're doing anyway.
We have to do.
We have to do. 36-20, the New England Patriots beat the Saints, and we're going to hear from a couple of guys in a minute. Look, Mike Thomas is not the problem, but you are definitely seeing the lack of Brandon Cooks and Willie Snead affecting Mike Thomas. Teams, the first 2 games of the year, teams have overplayed Thomas because he is your one legitimate weapon right now.
Yeah, and bottom line, they've been able to bracket him. If it's not your top cover guy, Xavier Rose did a great job on him a week ago. And today you saw there was a lot of bracket coverage on Mike. They were giving the short stuff. They weren't trying to give you any splash plays. And again, I think that's something in this offense they've got to be able to hit on. Doug, they just can't roll it downfield with that makeshift offensive line that the Saints have right now. It's difficult to piece together a 10, 12, 14-play drive. So Mike Thomas, almost like Drew Brees, he can't play good. He's got to be great.
Right.
And right now, the way they're playing him, there is no other option for him. You can see Drew is looking in that direction because where he would look in the pass, Willie Snead on third down, Brandon Cooks on third down, not there.
Yeah, teams could not overplay Mike Thomas last year while Brandon Cooks was on the field. Ricardo LeCompte caught up with Mike Thomas in the Saints locker room.
Michael, 0-2 start again for this team. Is there a chance, or do you feel good that you can probably turn this thing around?
100%, 100%. We have a lot of talent in this locker room. We could turn things around, and we could turn things around right when we want to. So we just have to play a complete game, complement our defense complement us. So we just have to put points on the board and make stops.
Do you feel as an offense, do you get pressured, especially when you have someone like Tom Brady on the other side who just goes off in that first half? Does you feel as an offense maybe a little pressure trying to keep up?
No disrespect to Tom or that offense over there. They're very prolific and a great offense, but I think we have the talent on offense and we don't feel any pressure. We just have to make our plays when our number's called, take advantage of the opportunities.
What's the one big improvement? I know you haven't seen the tape yet, but what's maybe the one improvement you see initially that maybe can change as you move forward?
Maybe just as a whole, just me personally, just having a sense of urgency, knowing that, we have a lot of young guys playing on defense where, they're going to make mistakes. I was a young guy. I'm still young, but I was a rookie last year, and, when my number was called, I had to make plays. So I know that guys, this is their first time playing in the league, and that they might make a couple mistakes. We hope they don't, but we just have to have their back. We have to encourage them, and we have to make plays, and our number's called. Simple as that.
Michael, thank you very much. Doug, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ricardo. With a week to think about how to rearrange his offensive line, Sean Payton put Andres Pete at left tackle. He moved rookie first-rounder Ryan Ramczyk to right tackle. He played Sinio Calamete at left guard. Ricardo caught up with Sinio Calamete in the locker room afterwards.
I know there was a lot of shuffling in the offensive line coming into this game. How did you feel you fared with just different pieces, trying to mix and match in today's game?
I feel like I did pretty solid, overall. There's probably like 2 plays I would want to take back, especially the one with the run with Adrian Peterson. But overall, I thought I did pretty good. I felt like we gave Drew plenty of time. A few plays here and there, I felt like, we could have probably changed the game. So.
This team's starting 0-2 again. It's kind of been the pattern here. Do you feel like this locker room can probably turn this thing around? And if so, what needs to happen?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no one in this locker room that's hanging their head down low, or it sucks right now to be 0-2. I mean, we still got plenty of games left, so I mean, we continue just to fight and push each other, and just execute on the field. I think we'll be just fine.
When you go down such a big hole early on, Tom Brady's coming in and firing as an offense. Was there some pressure trying to match that? Did you feel that at all?
Yeah, obviously when the score got up there, we knew we were going to have to kind of up tempo, kind of throw the ball a little bit more, just to kind of cut down that deficit. But it's always tough when you kind of get behind, you kind of get one-dimensional, and you just got to hold up and give Drew enough time, and hopefully he finds his receivers.
Good luck next week in Charlotte.
Thank you.
Doug, back.
Yeah, the Saints were definitely one-dimensional. We talked about that, Mike, 45 passes, 17 runs. How'd you think the offensive line did today?
I think they did a pretty good job in the pass protection part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the good part. The bad part is I thought you sort of lack just the infusion of different kind of pieces moved around. The running game just wasn't there for this football team, and Sean unplugged it real quick. Well, once he got behind it, he unplugged it fast. But I did think they gave Drew a lot of time to throw the football today. Not that the Patriots are known for their pass rush, but again, I thought overall, pass blocking-wise, they did a really nice job.
But this does look maybe the most unusual the Saints offense has looked in a decade, because I agree with you. Ingram and Peterson together look like mismatched pieces.
That's not going to work.
And you're missing the weapons you had, Brandon Cooks and Willie Snead. And look, Brandon Cooks is really the guy who stretched the field, and I really think they're feeling the loss of that. There's no one that scares you. Ted Ginn hasn't really got involved much. This offense seems more disjointed and more mismatched than I can remember it in a decade.
One of the things is on third down, I don't think Drew will say this, but the most trusted guy he had was Willie Snead.
Sure.
He knew on third down Willie was going to get open. Another thing, too, is this team is tailor-made for a tight end to catch 75 to 85 passes in a season. Kobe Fleener is not going to give you that.
Right.
It was a major drop-off, even from Ben Watson. to Kobe Fleener at this point. And so where's your short intermediate game? It's lost today. You got to get the ball out to the backs, really, to get anything in that area of the game. Doug, again, there is more to this team that has faltered other than the defense.
Right.
And you got to say the offense has been a part of it. You can say injuries, suspensions, everything else. They don't look on the same page. And I think that's what's more troubling to Sean Payton than his defense, is that his offense has not been able to produce those 28 to 35 points a game.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Now we will start to look ahead to Carolina, and we'll hear from Saints linebacker A.J. Klein in the locker room when we continue on our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special. Welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Yes, it was not a good performance from the Saints defense. And afterwards, Ricardo LeCompte caught up with Saints linebacker A.J. Klein.
Here with A.J. Klein, and A.J., I know the frustration has to be setting in, 0-2 start. Do you feel like this locker room can probably turn this thing around?
Yeah, I think we can. I think once we get back tomorrow, watch this tape and really dive into it and hold people accountable, myself included, from a defensive aspect. And we have a lot to work on. We have a lot to improve on. And the 0-2 start, I've been a part of teams where we started 1-4. We came back and we made the playoffs, won 10 games to end the season. So, I mean, it's a process. It's a very long season. Yes, we'd love to have gotten the win today, but sometimes the chips just don't fall your way. So we got to get back to work tomorrow, and this next week's going to be very important for us.
How much of it in that first half especially was it the Pats offense just clicking and you guys missing assignments?
I think obviously you have to give credit where credit's due. They didn't make mistakes. We did, and obviously on us, we have to make those adjustments, and I thought we made those adjustments coming off, even though those drives early on in the game hurt us. But it's a 60-minute game. We have to play for 60 minutes plus, and today they were just a better team.
You know, you're going to hear all the questions. The defensive unit, it's the same type of problems and issues that the Saints defense has. But from your perspective, is it really that bad, or is it just there are things that you just kind of have to work and tweak and kind of fix?
Well, I'm going to have to see the tape tomorrow, but I think obviously there's things we have to work at and fix and tweak, because obviously the score and the box score, the amount of yards we gave up, obviously that's not the defense we want to be. So things are going to have to change, and we'll see tomorrow. And obviously the accountability aspect, like I said, is going to be huge, and I don't care what it takes. I mean, if we have to stay an extra 5 hours and watch tape together as a unit and getting the guys together to get this thing right, we're going to get it right.
Thank you very much, AJ. Doug?
In 2 games this season, the Saints have given up 1,025 yards of total offense to the Vikings and the Patriots. It is not good. We'll be back with Mike Te'o to wrap up our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game special in a minute. All right, here are the next 5 weeks, the next 4 Saints games. They are at Carolina, then they get Miami and London, then they get a bye week. The Lions at home and at Green Bay. Now, Mike, before you can even dream of getting into the playoff picture, you got to get back to 500. Do you see anything in this team that leads you to believe that they can make a run?
No, at this stage. And listen, you asked the question, I'll give you the answer. I don't see it at this stage. Now, again, next week becomes paramount.
Sure.
You cannot get off to a 0-3 start, then your chances are nil.
Right.
To even be, maybe even a 500 team at that particular stage. But right now, lack of confidence with your offensive scheme. It's misjointed on what you want to do. And defensively, you've got to score 30 or more points in a game to win. And today, even 30 points wouldn't have helped you at that particular spot. You're playing a team in Carolina that's not known to put a lot of points on the board, but they have a really stout defense, especially that front seven. That secondary is much improved. And Cam Newton shows the ill effects of the surgery and not having a lot of practice time, but the weapons. They have not been able to cover Greg Olsen. Look over the last 6 games.
Look, they couldn't cover Gronkowski today.
And so I would go there. Also, Christian McCaffrey coming out of the backfield. Man, if I'm Ron Rivera and I see that film, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's going to be Olsen and McCaffrey.
And look, the NFC South hasn't lost a game yet. Everybody else is unbeaten. So to get back into the division race seems almost impossible. And I'm saying that in week 2.
Yeah, that's a tough role. That's a tough role when no one's lost yet in the NFC South, and you're already 0-2, and you staring down a Panther club that's pretty doggone good.
That game is next Sunday at noon. The Saints travel to Carolina. Again, they then go to London to play the Dolphins. You might come out of that 1-3. Best case scenario, you're 2-2. Then you got a bye week and you regroup. 7-9 the last 3 years. They started each of those years 0-2. The Saints are 0-2 again to start this one. No way to paint a pretty picture on this one. The Patriots beat the Saints the final 36-20. That'll wrap it up for Mike Te'o. Mike, thanks.
Thank you, Doug.
I'm Doug Mouton, live at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome with our Eye on the Black and Gold post-game